Under the Silver Lake, we open up on a glass door being brushed to warn dog owners. Sam is waiting for his drink. On the way home, a squirrel falls down and splashes in front of him. Creepy. The building manager has sent Sam an eviction notice. As he sits on his balcony, Sam receives a call from his mother, telling him about a movie. While on the call, he spies on a topless lady, also looking at his new neighbor, Sarah. A couple of minutes later, Sam's actress friend visits him. She shows some of that acting on the bed, and while they are doing it, they hear a TV newscast. Wealthy mogul Jefferson Sevence has gone missing. His friend also notices a Playboy magazine laying there, and Sam tells her that it's his favorite edition. Sam goes to a bookstore a little while later and buys a comic called Under the Silver Lake. Before leaving, Sam requests that the cashier connect him with the comic's creator. On his way home, Sam notices a skunk and his neighbor's dog sitting outside. He starts feeding the dog some treats and Sarah comes out. The two start talking to each other and Sarah invites him in. While heavily stunned and watching How to Marry a Millionaire, Sam and Sarah develop an interest in one another. Sarah's wrist is adorned with an engraved metal bracelet, which Sam observes. They are about to get intimate when Sarah's two roommates arrive home with a mysterious man dressed as a pirate, who turns out to be Jefferson Sevence in disguise. Sarah calls it a night suddenly, but encourages Sam to hang out together the next day. When he gets home, Sam reads Under the Silver Lake. A recent wave of animal fatalities ascribed to the dog killer is linked in the comic to a failed silent cinema actor, which said that no one in the neighborhood would be happy until all of the dogs were dead. Later on, Sam had a nightmare about following a trail of dog treats to Sarah's dead pet. Before jolting awake, he notices a guy costumed as Sarah devouring the dog's guts. Next morning, he returns to Sarah's flat. He discovers that it's absolutely vacant. The building manager says that Sarah and her roommates went out in the middle of the night before delivering a verbal warning about Sam's overdue rent. He and a friend go to a bar to discuss Sarah and the dog killer. Sarah's apartment is unoccupied, so Sam sneaks inside. There he picks up a picture of Sarah from a shoebox that is left behind. There he also sees a sign of 2 diamonds on the wall. Suddenly the door opens and Troy walks and takes the shoebox. Sam decides to follow Troy and her companion about town in secret until they hand the package over to the pirate. He then follows the 3 women to the standard rooftop bar where the local band Jesus and the Brides of Dracula are performing. There he tries to confront Troy about Sarah's unexpected absence, but gets sneaked in the crunch. Ew. He then runs into Alan, a buddy of his. They are each given cookies that serves as tickets to a hidden performance in Hollywood Forever Cemetery. When word emerged that her father was discovered dead with 3 women suspected of being prostitutes, Sam and Alan notice Millicent Seven's reaction. Sam learns later that night that Sarah's hat was among the stuffs discovered at the crime site. On the way home, the author of Under the Silver Lake, the comic man, calls Sam to invite him to his home. Then he thinks he's being followed by a stranger, and while he runs, he's sprayed by a skunk. Sam's actress body comes over to visit. As he is being bathing to get rid of the skunk smell, the actress reads from the zine about the Owl Kiss, a legendary murderer who wears an owl mask and is said to be a member of a cult responsible for scores of killings in the Los Angeles area. Sam admits to being fascinated by hidden meaning in the popular culture that he believes is intended for society's elite to uncover. He has another dream about Sarah. Later that morning, Sam goes to the comic man's place. He inquires about the double diamond sign that he notices at Sarah's place. Sam is shown a cipher of old hobo codes that identifies the sign as Stay Quiet. The latest surge of disappearing pets, humans, and musical instruments, according to the comic man, may have something to do with the Owl Kiss. He's also shown additional hidden messages and commercial advertising by Comic Man. Sam is taken to a secret cubby hole with a system of concealed surveillance cameras by Comic Man. There he is shown a vintage box of Space Stone cereal with a map of the region on the back. Comic Man reveals that if he can crack the map's code, he will find the secret to everything he has been looking for. Sam pays a visit to his buddy in the bar and expresses his worries that someone may be watching him. As his friend deploys a drone to spy on a sorrowful woman undressing, Sam notices 2 of the film actresses standing beside a grave with a man dressed in Native American regalia. The 3 depart in a car with the pirate. After Sam introduces himself to obtain access to the hidden concert, Sam eats the entire cookie he received at the standard. There he is given a record by Jesus and the Brides of Dracula. He also bumps into Alan, also sees Ballinger, a girl he saw at the concert earlier. Sam inquires about Sarah's whereabouts and is taken to an underground by Ballinger where they dance until Sam becomes ill from unknown substance in the cookie. Ballinger is no longer visible. Sam notices Troy and attempts to chase her down, but he passes out in the graveyard. Then he is awakened the next morning by another phone call from his mother. Sam's mother informs him that she is mailing him a VHS copy of a Janet Mayer film she mentioned earlier. Sam notices that he collapsed on Janet Mayer's grave. While playing Super Mario, Sam and a friend from earlier debate hidden passwords in an ad. Sam notices the two actresses from the graveyard. One of the females is summoned to Sam's apartment. When the shooting star notices Sarah's Polaroid on Sam's refrigerator, she recalls seeing her at the party in a gated neighborhood owned by a famed composer years ago. The next day, Sam manages to decode the secret phrase. Sam visits the Griffin Observatory and then waits beneath an Isaac Newton monument. There he meets the homeless king, who is shown to be a filthy guy wearing a paper crown. Before bringing Sam through a Griffith Park to an underground passage, the king blindfolds him. He informs Sam along the journey that if he ever finds himself alone with a coyote, he should follow it to see where it leads. Sam examines what looks to be a prepared fallout shelter leading to a food shop after being left alone in the tunnel. Later, Sam goes to Comic's residence, where a policeman officer informs him that Comic Man has seemingly committed suicide. Sam enters the residence undetected and observes the Aukes planning to assassinate Comic Man in his bed on footage captured by the concealed security cameras. Sam grabs the treasured cereal box and rushes out the door. He then phones Alan to know about how he might contact Jesus. Sam is taken to an outdoor chess party by Alan where he sees Ballinger and the two shooting stars among the guests. Then he tackles Jesus in the restroom at the party, demanding to know about the secret messages concealed in his music. Jesus claims that his record label pushed him to record his 3 successful songs, while also requiring him to refrain from asking any questions. The real author of the songs, according to Jesus, is known as the songwriter. Sam asks Shooting Star about the party she mentioned before. Then he is escorted to a mansion by Balloon Girl and the two Shooting Star, where he confronts the songwriter about the coded messages. The songwriter confesses that he has written every successful song ever recorded. Sam is cryptically tuned by the songwriter, who explains that all of the artwork he has believed in his whole life are artificial invention beyond his comprehension, and their secret messages are not meant for him. As their argument intensifies, the songwriter pulls out a revolver and fires it at Sam. In response, Sam beats him to death with a guitar. Sam's residence gets infiltrated by the Aukes. The building manager arrives at the door with the sheriff to remove Sam, but the sheriff decides to give Sam one more day. Sam then tracks down a coyote to a party and encounters his ex-girlfriend, who introduces him to her new fiancé. He also meets Jefferson Sevence, who points out a Janet Gaynor picture amid the host home's furniture. Sam informs Millicent that his body was with her father when he died, and Sam has been attempting to learn more about her. As he and Millicent travel around the Silver Lake, Sam reveals all he has discovered. Millicent offers Sam a metal bracelet seized from her father's office that looks similar to the one Sarah was wearing. Both of them jumped into water and swimming, but Millicent is killed by sniper fire, and her dying picture is reminiscent of the Playboy magazine's cover. The next day, Sam starts connecting numbers etched on the bracelet to a chessboard, a Legend of Zelda map, and a map located inside Comic Man's cereal box. He is doing this to discover the secret place. Sam arrives at the spot and notices a hobo emblem indicating that the area is unsafe. He then enters a tiny cottage where he encounters the enigmatic Final Man, who is flanked by Troy and her two companions. Sam recounts what he's learned thus far and inquires about Sarah. The bomb bunker Sam discovered is actually a tomb for kings like Final Man and Jefferson Sevence, according to Final Man. Final Man explains to Sam that these elite areas are where the world's wealthiest men reside for several months, while waiting ascension to a higher level where they would be awarded eternal life. Final Man puts up a video phone for Sam to communicate with Sarah, who is presently housed in an underground bunker with Jefferson Sevence and two other women. Sarah verifies that she is okay and that she opted to visit the tomb of her own volition. Sarah also inquires about Sam's plans to buy another dog. After sipping the tea that final man gave him, Sam is knocked out. When he awakens, he discovers that he is being held hostage by the homeless king. The king becomes enraged and demands to know why Sam carrying dog biscuits in his pocket. Sam says with tears in his eyes that they were for his ex-dog girlfriends and that he had been holding on to them in hopes that she would take him back. Sam is released by homeless king with a shaky assurance that members of the conspiracy will not kill him. Sam is also told by the king not to say anything to anyone. When he gets home, he watches a Janet Gaynor film with his mother, then goes over next door to have fun with his neighbor. From the balcony of her apartment, he sees the two diamond symbols over his door.